if they could go back to that very first time that anybody touched them in a wrong way. What we know as adults is a wrong way. If you might get a little different, there was something not quite right about that. Yeah. But if there's something not quite right about it, then where are they getting that? Is that nobody had to tell her. Like I said, this little girl, nobody had to tell her, don't ever let anybody touch you like this, because back then they didn't even think about that stuff. It wasn't a problem in our culture as it is today. So now we're educating people, and if anybody tries to touch you, you need to tell an adult this. But back then, that just wasn't a problem. In some countries, it's just not a problem. It's become a problem more, here, I guess Europe. But some parts of the world just don't have that going on. It's not, at least not on a big scale. So, but the point still being, do we have any innate sense of right and wrong? That's kind of really we're going to get into ethics later on that. But this is more to do with just decision making. Are you predisposed to make decisions? And is it just an illusion that free will exists, is the question. Is it really just an illusion? You thought you chose something, but it was really, you were going to do that because that's just who you are. That's just the way it works. That's who you were born to be, and so that's what you're going to do. It's just a question.
Quite a few people have a problem, like difficulty understanding God, because he goes, well, he knows I'm already going to do it. How is it my agency?
All right, let's get the thing down. Anyway, all the smaller lines that I was drawing, that if you imagine those being dominoes, and the little thoughts that are going on underneath subconsciously, so to speak. What drove you to be here in college? You're here. That was a big decision. Yes, I'm choosing to go to college. What are all those things going on? Some people don't choose to do that. They go a different direction. And then they're like me, they choose not to do it, and they end up coming back to it anyway. That's another story. But, those little things that are running in the background, what is that? What's driving? What is that? Some of it may be influence, your family. I mean, there probably is some to that. But if you take the same person and put them in a different environment, they're going to grow up to be different people because partly of the environment, but they may be somewhat the same because they're genetically alike, right?
What about sociopaths?
I think that you're going to find that something went wrong somewhere. They're not typically, well, I don't want to say that, because there's people that are born with problems, mental problems. But a lot of people, you'll, I'm sure, learn this in your psychology class. I think it was probably abnormal psych, maybe an abnormal psych that I studied some stuff when I was in college. A lot of times, these people that have these problems, you'll see grow up in, affluent homes, or mom and dad are, well respected in the community and this and that, but they're maybe at home, don't treat their family so well or whatever, and they see a lot of hypocrisy. And sometimes folks that develop problems, I understand it grows out of a frustration with their own family life, and they end up hating them, that their parents are trying so hard to please them, the outside world, and then they grow up to resent that. So I'm not saying that that's standard fare for all sociopaths, but again, that goes back to the nature and nurture. Was that person born to be like that and to hate society, or was that person raised in an environment that made them inwardly burn and despise what they see going on because they were getting neglected in their childhood or something? So that's a good point. Okay, indeterminism being the opposite of determinism. I'm not going to really talk a lot about that. It's just everything is not caused by natural law. Okay. Libertarianism is the idea that free will is true. It exists. Therefore, determinism must be false. So you can't have this extreme and this extreme. They cannot exist together, so to speak. now, we're going to talk about option 3 in a minute, but you can't have a true libertarian and a true determinist. At some point you have to be, I don't want to say it, philosophically schizophrenic, but that's kind of where you'd be on that. All right, you can't believe in both at the same time exclusively. Now, we'll talk about the combo here in a minute, but we're not going to go there just yet. So the libertarian says, yes, you are free. There is such a thing as free will. That means there is a part of you that, outside of circumstances, outside of nature, whatever, there is some part of you that is free to choose this or that. All right. Now, we all are already limited by our circumstances, right? Yes, you can make a lot of choices, but you can't choose to do everything. Just as I said earlier, I can't be in Germany right now. I can't choose, I'm going to go to Germany in an hour. Well, I won't be there for about 18, or whatever, however long. I can't remember how long that flight is. I think it's about, no, it's not that long, is it? Maybe 9 hours or 8 hours or something like that. What's that? Germany, yeah. 9 hours? 9 hours, 14 minutes? You're not in the military, are you?
Do it now. My mom's from Germany.
Oh, your mom's from Germany?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I went there like 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's where we did our stopovers before we went to Kuwait and Iraq and stuff. So that's all I remember. I think it was like it was halfway, and it's like about an 18-hour flight or something total. All right, so I can't make certain choices because those options are not available, is my point. But inwardly, internally, what options are available? What are you able to choose to do? I choose to fly. Okay, well, that's going to have to be in the form of American Airlines or a helicopter, or I'm limited.
I think you can choose to do anything.
What's that?
I think you can choose to do anything.
You can choose to do anything?
Yes, you have the choice to do that, but you choose. I can choose to go knock over that thing right there, but I'm not going to do it.
Well, I was saying I can choose to fly. I mean, like a bird chooses to fly. They have a choice that can become a reality. I had to choose to fly. I got to buy an airline ticket.
Right. Well, if you choose
so,
to fly a bird, you're going to fall down.
Yeah, right. I mean, so I choose to fly like a bird. I'm going to take a nosedive for whatever's beneath me, right? That's what I'm saying. We have limitations.
Your freedom is limited to your ability.
Freedom is limited to our ability. Okay, good way to put it. But what about that internal freedom? Is it limited? Again, back to that. See? Okay, compatibilism is the compromise. It is the free will and determinism can coexist. Obviously not in their extremes. Not hard determinism. A hard determinist cannot be a libertarian. All right, that's where that term, we'll throw that in. A hard determinist cannot be a libertarian. You can. It's not going to happen. But you could be a quasi-determinist, a sort of determinist, and a sort of libertarian. You can have a combo. And that's called compatibilism. All right, Epictetus once said, some things are under our control while others are not under our control. Well, kind of common sense view, isn't it? Gee, all right, wow, that was brilliant. Okay, so he says, in a nutshell, you're an actor in a play. How well you embrace your role is yours to do, but your character is the playwright's. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. If you think about it in theatrical terms, how many were thespians? No? I was a temporary thespian in high school. I got involved in that stuff. Obviously didn't make it to Hollywood, so here I am teaching. But the role, the actor, the role is yours to embrace. Okay. But your character, you didn't get a choice of that. In other words, you were born who you are. How well you play that part is up to you. My brothers, one of them is a mechanical engineer. The other one works for a bank, local bank here. I thought I wanted to do the mechanical engineer thing when I was younger, and yeah, then the whole math thing came into play. And I realized that that's not my character. So that was not my lot in life.